getting back to the basics, let me show you this love. We're getting back to the basics so you see that it's love. We're getting back to the basics, let me show you this love. We're getting back to the basics so you see that it's love.
If you got time, we can work it out. This is spiritual growth, we can work it out. You are mine, I am yours, we can work it out. Together we're a force, we can work it out.
This series is called Back to the Basics because a lot of us didn't fail at relationships because we didn't care. We failed because we were never taught the foundations. We were taught what it should look like, what to post, and what to get attraction, but not how to communicate, how to stay grounded in ourselves, and how to build something healthy behind the scenes. And if we being real, social media made it worse because now we're comparing our real relationship to highlight reels. We're chasing couple goals instead of real connection. So this series right here is about unlearning what we were taught, what we've been influenced by, and getting back to what actually works. Welcome to Back to the Basics. All right, check this out. Let me say this up front right now. Boundaries don't push people away. They often reveal who's willing to respect you as a person. And many of us don't struggle with boundaries because we don't know what they are. We struggle with them because we're afraid of what might happen when we finally set them. Boundaries are not control. They're not punishment. They're not you trying to change somebody else. Boundaries are clarity. They answer one simple question. What am I okay with and what am I not okay with? It's a tough question. You know why? Because we were taught to preserve the relationship over honoring and respecting ourselves. All my clients say the same stuff. And one of the main things they say is, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to start an argument or I just didn't want to start any issues. So what happens? They stay quiet. They let things slide. They tolerate stuff they don't like. And over time, that silence turns into resentment. Now they snapping over the smallest things, crashing out over the most simplest concepts. And now their partner is confused. They're like, wait a minute, where is all of this coming from? But it didn't start right there. It started way back in that moment that you decided not to speak up. All right, so from a therapeutic lens, boundaries are about emotional safety. And without safety, you don't have connection. The only thing you have is proximity. Two people can be in the same space, but if one person doesn't feel that emotional safety and that space of peace within their own relationship, the relationship is already breaking down. Research has already shown that when you have clear boundaries, you have higher trust, better communication, and less resentment. Why is that? Because both partners know where the line is. Everybody knows what to cross and what not to cross. Why is it that boundaries and setting boundaries are so difficult? Because oftentimes setting boundaries comes with the risk. What if they get mad? What if they leave? What if this turns into a bigger issue? Instead of risking that relationship, you sacrifice yourself, and that becomes a pattern. Our family and our culture don't help at all. Because oftentimes we hear in our culture, well, that's just how they are. Don't be disrespectful. You just gotta accept people for who they are. That's bull. A lot of us were taught to tolerate things that were never healthy for us in the first place. Oftentimes we confuse endurance with love, silence with peace, tolerance with strength, and it's costing us our relationships, our life, and our sanity. Let me shift your perspective real quick. No is not a rejection. It's information. It's you saying this doesn't work out for me. This doesn't feel good to me. This is where my line is. And if a person truly respects you, they will take that information seriously and they will adhere to whatever your boundary, whatever your stoppage point is. All right, now let's make it real practical. Boundaries sound like, I'm not okay with being talked to like that. I need time before we continue this conversation. You know what? That really doesn't work for me. It's not yelling. It's not shutting down. It's not being passive aggressive. You're being clear, calm, and direct. And that's a snapshot of what healthy boundaries can look like. Now let's talk about RESPECT. Yeah. Find out what it means to me. RESPECT. Boundaries and respect go hand in hand. Respect is not fear, it's not control, it's not silence. It's consideration, consistency, and accountability. Let's be real cognizant of this. If someone only respects you when you stay quiet, that's not respect. That's control. Say that again. If someone only respects you when you stay quiet, that is not respect. That is control. I'm gonna let you sit with that. Culturally, a lot of us were taught to hold it down. You know what I'm saying? Don't start no drama. Stay strong in these moments. But sometimes that turns into not speaking up, overextending yourself, and carrying emotional weight alone. And that is the point where we have to shift that narrative, because we have to have strength. And strength equates to clarity. It doesn't equate to silence. We need to understand. We need to clarify so that we can show up the way we need to for whatever the situation is. Let's break down this cycle real quick. When you don't set boundaries, you stay quiet, they keep doing the same thing over and over again. You build resentment. They don't understand why you're upset. Because they don't understand why you're upset, you stay quiet, they keep doing the same thing over and over again. You build resentment. They don't understand why you're building resentment. Why are you so upset? And because you're upset, you stay quiet. You see what happens? It's the same cycle over and over and over again. And it all started with what? Something you didn't say. So this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to actively identify an area in your relationship where you feel drained, disrespected, or unheard. I want you to ask yourself, what boundary do I need right there? Write it out. What you're feeling, what you need, what you're no longer okay with. And I want you to practice saying this out loud. Don't wait until you're angry to say it. Please. We don't want to wait until we're angry to have those conversations, because we're not listening to one another at that point. And answer this question overall. Where in your relationship have you been choosing comfort over clarity? Let's get into it, y'all. Let's set those proper boundaries. So as we close out, this is what back to the basics really looks like. It's not about performing for the world. It's about building something real behind the scenes. Because at the core of every single relationship, romantic, family, friendships, or even work, the basics are exactly the same. Knowing yourself, communicating clearly, building with intention. So take what we talked about today. Don't just post it, apply it. And if you need help, tap in with your big black therapist. And I thank y'all so much for tuning in to Back to the Basics. And we signing out. Until next time. Peace.
We're getting back to the basics, let me show you this love. We're getting back to the basics so you see that it's love. We're getting back to the basics, let me show you this love. We're getting back to the basics so you see that it's love.
If you got time, we can work it out. This is spiritual growth. We can work it out. You are mine, I am yours. We can work it out. Together we're a force. We can work it out.